Good morning, students. Very hearty welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope you people are learning well and gaining knowledge every day through the videos which I upload on my channel. So in today's class, we are going to continue with our previous topic, that is tokens. So in our previous class, we had discussed about keywords, identifiers, and we had also seen the string literals. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about numeric literals. So let's see what are the numeric literals. The numeric literals are basically divided under three categories. Number one, integer. Number two, float. And number three, complex. So we have three numeric literals, that is integer, float and complex. Talking about integers, they require 16 bytes of storage, and basically you can store unlimited digits, that is numbers with unlimited number of digits in integers. In the previous versions of Python, that is in the version 2 of Python, we had two different types of integers. One was int and one was long. So long was basically for the large integer values and int was for small integer values. If you go on increasing the number of digits, you would have to use long, otherwise you can use int. But in Python 3 you have only one data type, and that is int, which accommodates all types of integers and it accepts unlimited number of digits, and that is the reason why it takes up a lot of space, that is 16 bytes. Now for integers, the main requirement is there should be whole numbers. You all have studied the number line, students. So you might have seen that a number line is something which looks like this. We have a zero in between. Towards the right hand side, we have all the positive values. And towards the left side you have all the negative values. So all the numbers which you can see here, they are whole numbers, that is numbers without any fractions, numbers which are not represented in fractions. So these are what? They are whole numbers. So we can have negative whole numbers, positive whole numbers and zero in integers. And in order to create an integer literal in Python, it is important that you have either three of the formats, that is the number should be a whole number and it can have a minus sign before it representing this as a negative number, and you can have a number without any sign which will represent that it is a positive number, and you can have a zero. So if you are creating any literal in Python, you are creating any variable in Python, then you will be doing it in this way. Suppose a equals 45, b equals 35, c equals minus 123, d equals 0. So this way you can use the integer literals to create integer objects in the memory. So this way you can use integer literals. The second is float literals. Now what are float? Now float literals are all those values which we know better known as decimal values, or we can say also known as real numbers, numbers which are fractional, which have a fractional part. So all those numbers which have something after the decimal point, they are known as floating point numbers. We will say they are floating point numbers. Now you will understand shortly what is the meaning of this floating point. So let's see. Now when we talk about floating point numbers, students, the rule says you should have at least one digit before the decimal point and one digit after the decimal point. This is the minimum requirement, and you can have a minus symbol before that also, or otherwise you can also have this number without the minus symbol. This would be a positive number and this would be a negative number. So this is how floating point numbers can be represented, and moreover you can also provide any number of digits after the decimal point which would define the digits of precision. For example, I write and so on. These digits are known as digits of precision. That is, they show how accurate your number is. The more the number of digits after the decimal point, the more is the accuracy of that number. So you can have these values, and if you want to represent 0, it should be 0.0. So floating point literals, you can have n number of literals, any number of literals you can use in your program. It could be, I am giving some examples over here. Any number of values you can take. So these are some examples of valid floating point literals. But remember, you cannot write something like this. This is absolutely wrong. You cannot have two decimal points. There would be only one decimal point in a floating point number. Now floating point numbers can be represented in two forms. One is your normal form and the second is your exponent form. Talking about the normal form, so in the normal form you normally represent floating point numbers like this. So these are examples of floating point numbers which are represented in the normal form. Even 0 is represented like this, 0.0. But in the exponent form, number will have a mantissa and an exponent. So mantissa and exponent, that is, you might have studied scientific notation. In mathematics, you might have studied how to represent real numbers using scientific notation, where if you have a number like this, you have a number like this. So right now it is being represented in which form? In the normal form. But if you want to represent this in the exponent form, then you will have to write it this way. Into 10 raised to the power. Now because I will be moving this decimal point 2 digits towards the left, hence I will be raising 10 to the power of 2. That is 4.3821 into 10 raised to the power 2. Now how to represent numbers in this form? If you write the number, try to assign a variable to this number. then Python would not accept these two, because there is no way of specifying subscript and no way of specifying this multiplication in Python. So to represent numbers in the scientific notation, you have to specify it in this way: 4.3821 E02, where E represents 10 and 02 represents raised to the power 2. So E represents into 10 and 02 represents raised to the power 2. Okay, so this is how you represent numbers in the scientific notation. So we have seen how to represent numbers in the scientific notation. So this is how you will represent the number. Now sometimes it is quite possible that you need to represent numbers which are of this form. And how to represent this? You will be using it this way. You will be moving this decimal point towards the right hand side, and because I am moving it how many places? 4 places. So this would be into 10 raised to the power minus 4. How to represent this number? 7.5 E minus 04, or you can also write 7.5 E minus 4. So this E represents into 10 and this minus 4 will represent raised to the power minus 4. So this is, now you might have understood why this data type is known as floating point number. That is because you might have seen that this point, it floats within the number. Okay, sometimes we shift it towards the left side and sometimes we shift it towards the right side. Hence the name floating point literals. So we have seen how to represent numbers in floating point. We can represent them in the normal form also and in the exponent form also. Just a word of caution, try to avoid the exponent or scientific notation form, because most of our values are especially at your level, you won't find values which are very large. Hence, you should try to keep the values in the normal form only as far as possible, because in that way the data is well readable also, and always try to keep the number of digits of precision to 2 places after the decimal, not more than that. And specifically this is suitable for data like if you want to store fee, marks, salary. Data like this doesn't require even temperature. It doesn't require data which has to be represented in the scientific notation. Usually we need scientific notation for those numbers where the number of digits of precisions is very high. That is, it has many number of digits after the decimal place. So there we need to shrink the number a little so that it is represented easily in this form. But over here, for this values like these, you can keep the value in the normal form only. So that was all about float. Next we would be seeing complex numbers. Next is complex numbers. Now students, complex numbers are such numbers which have a real part and an imaginary part. Usually the real part is any number, any integer, or it can be any floating point number. And imaginary part is represented by any coefficient which can be an integer or float value along with an iota. Now what is this iota? Normally these numbers are of this form: a plus bj. In case of mathematics, we represent it as a plus bi. whereas in case of Python this I is replaced by a j. So this I represents what? Under root 1. So we have under root 1 and this is named as iota, and it represents that this part is an imaginary part. There are certain numbers which don't have their solution in the real part. There are certain numbers whose solutions are not found by the system of equations for real numbers. Hence, those numbers are known as imaginary numbers, whereas this part is your real part. So complex numbers contain two parts, real and imaginary part. That imaginary part is this. This is the imaginary part, and usually in Python represented by the word imag, and this part is your real part. And you can also create a complex literal, something like this. If I write cnum, which represents a complex number, I can use the function complex and provide the values. Now when you print this, you will get the value 5 plus 6j, and that too written within a bracket. So this is how you will get the values. So you can have positive values also, negative values also. If I write minus 7 plus 4j, you will get this value also. If I write 7 minus 4j, you can write these values also. So this is how complex numbers are represented in Python. So complex numbers would be discussed in detail when we come to our later parts of the chapter, when we will study about data handling. That is the next chapter. In that chapter we will discuss complex numbers in detail. For the time being, this information is sufficient for you all. Now after creating complex numbers, you can also print the value. That is, if you write print cnum dot real, then you will get 5 as the answer. If you write print cnum dot imag, you will get the imaginary part, that is 6 as the answer. So this is how you can easily represent complex numbers. Coming to our next part, now integers are not, we are going to expand the domain of integers, and we will see how many different types of integers can be represented using integer literals. Students, in maths we have number systems. You will be studying more about number systems in the chapter data representation. But for the time being, I'll just make you familiar with what this is. We have some number systems like binary number system, decimal number system, octal number system, and hexadecimal number system. Talking about number systems, students, binary number systems are those number systems which are made up of only two values, that is 0 and 1. Whereas decimal number systems are those number systems which are made up of 10 digits, 0 to 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So how many digits would be there? 10 digits. And here we will have 2 digits. Octal number systems are made up of 8 digits, that is 0 to 7. And hexadecimal number systems are made up of 16 digits, that is 0 to 9 and A to F. So if I give an example of a binary number, it would be something like this. That is a number which is entirely made up of binary digits. Okay, that is bits, either 0 or 1. Decimal numbers, any number which you see. This is an example of a decimal number because it contains digits within the range 0 to 9. Coming to octal. This is an example of an octal number because in this you can see that none of the digits exceeds 7. If I say 468, this will not be an octal number because it contains a digit 8 which is not within the range for octal digits. Coming to hexadecimal number. Students, because hexadecimal numbers contain 16 digits, hence 10 digits we would be getting from here and rest 6 digits we will be getting from here. Now you might be wondering what are these? So after 9 we have these digits. Where all these values which you see, they are represented, they are actually what digits in hexadecimal number systems. They are not numbers made out of the combination of decimal digits. Okay, we won't say 15, we won't say that 15 is a number, we will say 15 is a digit in case of hexadecimal number system. How should we say this? We will be representing each of them in the form of letters. So each of these numbers is represented in the form of alphabets. Okay, that is because if I have to create a number in decimal, if suppose the number is 998 and I want to represent the digit 10. Now I know that these three are digits, but the computer will get confused, because it will read 9 as a digit, 8 as a digit, which is correct. But what about this? It will read it as 1 because 1 is also a hexadecimal digit and 0 is also a hexadecimal digit. It will not read 10 as a hexadecimal digit. So that would be replaced by A over here because A will represent the digit 10. So this is how we can create hexadecimal digits. Now more details you will get in the chapter data representation, but for the purposes of explanation of integer types, I already explained this. Now here what you can do is, normally in computers we have very large memory addresses, that is we have very large RAM, usually something in gigabytes. Okay, and if you convert gigabytes into bytes, that would be a large number of bytes, where every cell will have a unique address consisting of a lot many binary digits. Now hexadecimal numbers can represent up to 4 binary digits or 4 bits in the form of one single number or one single digit. One digit of hexadecimal can be used to represent 4 bits in binary numbers. So that is the reason why hexadecimal number system is heavily used to represent memory addresses, because we can shrink large memory addresses into smaller values, smaller and more manageable values. So now we will see how to represent these values in Python. Binary numbers are represented in this form by prefixing a 0 and a B over here, which shows that this number is a binary number. So over here you can see a series of binary digits, that is bits. So what does this represent? It represents the number 13. If I just show you a conversion, this is how we convert a decimal number into a binary number. We divide the number by 2 and collect its remainder. So remainder is 1. This will be explained later on in the chapter data representation. So I'm just showing it to you in short, and we start collecting the digits from the bottom. 1101. So this 1101 represents the binary value, that is 13. So if you want to create a literal, then you will have to do it this way. Okay, so this 0b represents, it shows that the number is a binary value. A decimal value is represented in the usual way. Okay, we don't need any digit or any letter to be prefixed in front of it. Next is, if I have to represent an octal number. So here it sounds as oval, so I am going to write it as octval. To represent any octal number, you will be using a 0, you will be using a small o, and you will be typing the number. So a 0, this is 0, this is small o, and this is your octal number. And for a hexadecimal value, the number would be represented by a 0, an X, and the value. For example, so this is a hexadecimal value which is represented by a 0 and the letter X on your keyboard. It could be capital X, it could be small x also, and this part is your hexadecimal number. Understood? So this is how various integer values or various integer literals can be represented in Python. So that makes up today's class, that is literals, which are tokens, and that too numeric literals.